The night before the wedding, my fiancé was playing truth or dare with his friends. A girl asked with a teasing smile, "Jules, you and Emery are so perfect together, you must each be the other's first, right?" Sadness flickered in Julian's eyes. "I am." "She isn't. I'm not her first man." The girl feigned shock. "Oh my God, Jules loves Emery so much, and yet Emery actually..." I heard her mutter loud and clear, "She's really kind of loose." Bitterness crept over my fiancé's face. Someone nudged Misty and shot her a warning look. But the wide-eyed innocent wouldn't catch on. But a girl's first time is so precious, of course it should be given to the person she loves most. I saw the fracture and pain in Julian's eyes. So it mattered that much to him. Misty seemed blind to every cue, gazing at Julian with soft affection. If it were me, I'd definitely give my first time to the man I love most. I turned away, helpless, a dull ache rising in my chest. At midnight my phone rang. Julian's voice was tipsy. "Lynn, I'm about to marry you, I'm so happy." "Lynn, I wish I'd met you earlier." Babe, I miss you so much." Someone grabbed the phone and laughed apologetically. "Sorry, sis, Jules is wasted." I smiled calmly. "It's fine. Where are you?" "I'll pick him up." So I went, heart full, to collect my future husband, only to overhear all of that. It felt like a needle driven straight through every tender feeling. Not a tearing, ripping agony, but a slow, steady throb. Like cotton stuffed in my throat, suffocating me. Julian really wasn't my first. Ex-boyfriend and I had been close to engagement. In the end we split over his mother, career choices, clashing personalities. For years together, we'd done everything couples do. Perfectly natural. We loved, we missed, we parted, nothing more. There's no shame in that. Those years are my past, not my fault. I fixed my expression in the restroom before stepping back to the private room door. They'd already started the next round. This time it was Misty's turn. She chose dare without hesitation. Kiss a guy present, through a tissue. Misty's shy giddy stare pinned Julian. "Jules, would that be okay?" Someone tried to smooth it over. "Julian's taken, he's getting married tomorrow. Pick someone else." Misty's wide, naive eyes brimmed with disappointment. "It's only a game. It's not even a real kiss. Besides, I've never kissed anyone." At her grievance, Julian's gaze filled with tender pity. I knew that look. A man's sympathy for a woman. The spark of interest, the start of everything. He laughed easily. "Right, just a game, and there's a tissue in between. No big deal." Misty's clouds lifted, her young face brightened. Their lips moved toward each other, separated only by a flimsy square of paper. Her hopeful eyes, his indulgent smile, crystal clear. I gave a wry smile. What kind of setup was tonight? A special delivery of heartbreak? Watching them draw closer. Resentment flared. I took a deep breath, pushed the door open as if I'd just arrived. My sudden entrance froze them mid-motion. I caught the panic and guilt in Julian's eyes. The frustration and reluctance on Misty's face. "Lynn, what are you doing here?" I offered a perfunctory smile. "You called me, I said I'd pick you up." "But... did I come at a bad time?" No. The others chimed in at once. Perfect timing, sis, Jules drank too much tonight. Yeah, he's just thrilled about the wedding tomorrow. Don't mind him. Julian came over to hold my hand. Babe, let's go home. He led me out. Misty hurried after us. Jules, your jacket. Julian took it with a grin. Misty added sweetly, with all that alcohol, remember to take something for the headache, or you'll feel awful tomorrow. Will do. Rowan, please take good care of Jules. That proprietary tone, as if she were his girlfriend. She didn't notice how out of place she sounded, every emotion on full display, her adoration practically shouted. Someone teased, why does a kid like you need to remind them? They're the couple, none of your business. I just worry. After all, Emery doesn't love Jules that much, she already slept with. She left the sentence unfinished, but everyone understood. I gave a faint smile and helped Julian out. I wasn't letting Misty off the hook, the real culprit was Julian. His indulgence and blurred boundaries inflated this girl's willfulness. Misty never hid her crush on Julian. She was his underclassman in the same department and had long worshipped the handsome senior. She'd started by asking academic questions, then slid into sharing every little thing. A cute cafe near campus. A sunbathing cat she'd spotted. Anything that crossed her mind. At first Julian replied with polite indifference. Later he reminded her to dress warmly when the temperature dropped. Warned her which professor never skipped roll call. Even texted her happy birthday at the stroke of midnight. One day, while he accompanied me to try on my wedding gown, he laughed and took a voice call. Silly girl, you didn't even check the forecast? It's pouring, no umbrella? Forget it, find somewhere to wait. I'll pick you up when I'm done. The intimacy in his tone felt reserved for a lover. Julian's attention had wandered, his heart had stirred. I was certain. Bitterness washed through me. While I dreamed of marrying the man I loved, he worried whether another woman was getting wet in the rain. Guess I'd finally lived my own 30 seconds in the library. I drove with a blank expression. Not a word the whole way. Julian sensed my mood. Babe, don't get it twisted. Misty's just a kid, she shoots her mouth off without thinking. And you? You knew she doesn't think and still egged her on, dare? Julian swallowed the retort I'd shoved down his throat. He gave an easy shrug. It was only a game. Besides, I didn't even kiss her. So I showed up at the wrong time, is that it? Lynn! Julian's face went sharp. We're getting married. Can you quit nitpicking and getting jealous over every little thing? I tugged the corner of my mouth in silent ridicule. Deliberately I said, actually, that kid Misty's pretty great, youthful, energetic, sunny, hot. Seeing I'd stopped being aggressive, Julian softened. Babe, I knew it, you're just jealous. Relax, there's nothing between her and me. Misty's really simple, green and bright, a clean little sweetheart. Clean? So it really does matter to him. I stayed quiet a long while, then finally spoke. How about we push the wedding back? Huh? Why? Because I don't think you're ready to get married. And I need to rethink whether I want to marry you. But I wasn't about to dissect my heart for Julian. We're adults, what's the point? I could even picture the perfunctory answer he'd toss out. Coolly I said, the firm's slammed lately. Oh, Got it. Well, okay, then. I heard the exhale of relief loud and clear. As expected. I gave a bitter little smile. Julian, you swallowed that lame excuse without blinking. A month ago I told you I'd front-loaded every task so I could focus on the wedding. When I pulled consecutive late-night shifts last month you said you felt bad for me. And now? I glanced at my absent-minded fiancé. Maybe calling the wedding off wouldn't be such a bad thing. The moment we got home Julian glued himself to me, affectionate. But I kept seeing his shattered, miserable eyes at the lounge. Kept hearing his obsession with a clean girl. For the first time the thought of being intimate with him repelled me. Almost made me nauseous. Stone-faced, I turned him down. Julian stared at me with a complicated look, then stalked off to his room like a sulking kid. The door slammed hard enough to rattle the walls. I finally forced myself to look at this relationship, at the marriage we'd scheduled. I met Julian a month after ex-boyfriend and I broke up. I hadn't crawled out of that breakup hole yet. After all, he was the first man I'd ever loved. The one I'd thought I'd spend my life with. Messy ending, but I had loved him. I numbed myself with work. Julian was a senior then, interning at our firm. He radiated young guy energy and warmth. Diligent, earnest. Younger than me, but he acted grown. Just right concern, blunt sincere pursuit, he pulled me out of the breakup gloom fast. Christmas Day, roses in hand, he confessed. Looking into those sincere eyes, I caved. To avoid future friction I laid out my past first. I had a man I loved deeply, we talked marriage, shared everything lovers share. I know some guys care about a woman's history, so I came clean. Does it bother you? Julian stared straight at me. Everyone has a past, it doesn't bother me. I feel for you. I only regret not meeting you sooner. Later we were together. Every time he was rough. Full of domineering claim, like he was marking territory. I used to think that was love, desire born of love. We both had the right to enjoy it, nothing wrong there. In the heat he'd murmur over and over. Lynn, I wish I'd met you earlier. Back then I thought it was tenderness, now I know it was regret. If it really bothered him he could have just told me. Instead of enjoying me while sneering at my impurity. When I woke, Julian had breakfast ready. He called me cheerfully, as if last night's fight never happened. Babe, I've got classes today, won't do lunch with you. I nodded silently. After college Julian started a master's at the same school. Working and studying. His family's loaded, the internship had just been life experience. Now he clocks in at his own company with plenty of freedom. I backed his grad school plan, never guessing it would give him room to wander. I was in the office when a DM from an unknown caller popped up. I already knew who it was. Video, Julian kissing Misty like he'd lost the world, big hands roaming her body, starved. About to ignite. The taunts kept coming. Emery, you're already dirty. What he wants, only I can give. I can hand him my everything, no reservations. You can't. People really do laugh when they're past outrage. What century is this, some feudal residue? I silently saved the clip. Then calmly left the office. Since the stage was set, how rude would it be not to show up? Julian was in Misty's dorm, the background was unmistakable. But by the time I arrived they'd finished. Julian lay satiated, cradling the clean girl he'd pined for. Misty nestled in her lover's arms, face glowing. My knock shattered the cozy scene. Misty opened the door in fake panic, displaying everything. The sight stabbed me. I'd known he minded my past, I hadn't guessed he'd move this fast. Flushed, Misty played scared. Emery, it's not what you think with Jules. Julian scrambled up, yanking clothes on. I felt like an idiot. He wasn't minding my history, he just needed an excuse to cheat. I asked, why? Because my first time wasn't with you? His hands slowed, half-dressed. Sam jumped in. Emery, you're loose, why demand Jules stay loyal? I'm clean, my first time went to the man I love most. No regrets. Emery, let us be. What the hell are you saying? Julian hauled Misty behind him. Lynn, listen, it's not. I lost my head for a second. I laughed bitterly. Lost your head? He hung his head. Sorry, I screwed up. Smack! I slapped him. Misty shrieked and lunged. How dare you hit him, what did Jules do wrong? I gave him my first time of my own free will, where's the crime? Blame me, hit me. If Julian hadn't blocked her she'd have clawed me alive. I stared at the man I once loved, ice in my veins. Julian, we're done. I broke the news to family and friends the moment the wedding was off, then swept through the apartment and packed every last thing that belonged to Julian. I told him to move out. The place is mine, bought outright with my own money. I chose it for the short commute, nothing more. Now that we're done, we split fast and clean. He stormed back just as I was sealing the final box. Exhausted, I said, your stuff's sorted. Check it, then get out. His eyes flashed crimson. Lynn, do you have to be this cruel? Yeah, you cheated. Apologize all you want, it won't scrub the stain. You're dirty, and I don't want you near me. Julian exploded. You're throwing stones? You slept with someone before me, don't act pure. A bitter smile tugged at me, a single tear slid down. So you finally admit it. You've always despised my past. I sighed, long and slow. You could have told me. I would have walked away, no scenes, no scars. He stammered, no, Lynn, I never despised you. I just regret not meeting you sooner. Same old line. But without my past, I wouldn't be the woman he claims to love. Quietly, I said, that night, truth or dare, I heard you. You called it your biggest regret. Regrets rot, Julian. They fester. You found someone pure to cauterize the wound, good for you. Let's end this amicably. I'm not letting go. He lost control, voice cracking. I love you. One mistake doesn't erase 3 years. I'll cut Misty off completely. He stepped forward, arms open. I stepped back, every inch of me shuddered. I don't want you anymore. Your obsession with my past is now matched by the mess you made. Call it even. We're done. He shouted, one strike and I'm out. That's not fair. I almost laughed. Infidelity isn't a one-time slip, it's a switch that stays on. Thank God we never signed those papers. Fair? He judged my history in silence, where was fairness then? Thinking he saw a crack, he pushed harder. 3 years, Lynn. Wedding dresses waiting. You'll really toss us away? Doesn't it hurt? Of course it hurts, he was the man I'd planned forever with. But people grow greedy, hearts change, love survives only on conscience. I turned, calm. Let yourself out. I won't walk you to the door. I shut myself in the bedroom, face blank. Julian did leave, eventually. His boxes still litter the living room. Maybe he believes we'll reset, maybe movers are just late. I know better. Our story is a closed file. Heartbreak is a nasty flu, aches, fever, then Avery. I dose myself with work, spreadsheets numb better than pills. Beyond romance, I'm still solid gold, no man defines my worth. That afternoon Misty popped up on my Instagram, cheek on a man's shoulder, his face cropped but unmistakable, Julian, our engagement ring still on his finger. Her caption gushed, giving myself to you completely, bliss. Juvenile, sure, but I respect choices. I even double-tapped. Consider it detox, cheers to their lifelong lock-in. Minutes later Julian's calls and texts flooded in. I let them ring through. Lynn, nothing happened. Misty's sick, alone at school, her senior, I had to check, I messed up, but she's pure, inexperienced, guilt gave her a fever. I won't break up. You're the one I want forever, I skimmed the monotonous loops, same script, different day. Men are labyrinthine, clasp the white jasmine yet clutch the scarlet rose. I asked myself why I'd ever loved him. Once, I'd felt his love in surround sound. I grind at work, my breakup with ex-boyfriend stemmed from his demand I quit and play housewife. Refused. My value isn't a footnote in a man's resume. Spurred by spite, I sprinted up the corporate ladder. While I hacked through thorns, Julian cheered every swing. I flew to the remote highlands for a campaign, earthquake hit, debris pinned me. I thought I'd die. He located me, held my hand through rubble, coaxed me to breathe while rescue dug me out. When sunlight hit, he sobbed like I was treasure restored. Warmth pulled in me, I decided he was my forever. That life-saving bond became infinite credit. He's younger, impulsive, thrilling at first, draining later. After my late-night grind streaks he'd drag me to meteor viewings. He'd barge into meetings brandishing surprise picnics. He'd post grand declarations on my professional wins, flags planted, my girlfriend. A small part of me winced, but I'd whisper, he loves loudly. Yet that love carried quiet disgust, curdling into fixation. My phone lit again, Julian. 3 years. Our lifetime turned out to be just a chapter, not the book. That day I'd just walked my client to the elevator when I ran into someone I never expected. Lynn, it really is you, I thought my eyes were playing tricks. My head swiveled instinctively. Zachary. He looked older, the last trace of boyishness gone, but the gentle warmth I remembered still clung to him. Long time no see. Want to sit and catch up? I didn't refuse. It really had been ages. Back then we'd argued about work and family, but in the end we'd split without fireworks. We had never blocked each other, we'd simply slipped out of each other's orbit. Two adults leaving the stage with dignity. Facing the man I once loved, I felt nothing much. No delight at reunion, no awkwardness of unfinished business. Only a calm, almost medicinal detachment, like bumping into an old acquaintance passing through town. I heard you were getting married. I tugged the corners of my mouth into a bitter smile. Called it off. Why? Zachary looked startled, then murmured with the old fond exasperation, still so stubborn, huh? I held his gaze. Stubborn isn't a dirty word. True. If you'd gone soft, you wouldn't be the Lynn I know. I had zero desire to give my ex a status report, so I shifted gears. Your kid must be almost 2. Yeah. He exhaled a long, tired breath. It's exhausting. We met through our parents, no real spark, just pressure to get married. Now, with the baby, every diaper and jar of puree costs money. I feel like an ATM with insomnia. Silver threads glinted at his temples, the fatigue of a 30-something father clung to him like static. She isn't working? Quit the minute she saw the plus sign. I look at her and see the next 40 years laid out in tidy, boring rows, he said, eyes suddenly bright on me. Lynn, if I'd been braver, if I'd respected your ambitions, maybe everything would be different. I smiled and shook my head. No maybes. We both signed our own contracts. He gave a rueful nod. Yeah. We chose our roads. Before either of us could surrender to nostalgia, a storm in a tailored blazer barged in. You dumped me for him? Lynn, can't get over your precious first love, can you? Julian stood there flushed with fury, and I stared, utterly lost. How on earth had he leapt to that conclusion? Zachary raised an eyebrow. And this is... ex-boyfriend. Fiancé. We answered simultaneously. Zachary's smile stayed polite, yet the air between the two men crackled like live wire. Pretty young. Guess impulse control comes with mileage. And you must be what, 45? 50? Respect, Grandpa. I looked from one to the other, half exasperated, half amused. Why don't I leave you boys to bond? Zachary turned away. Julian took one measured step back. A silent ceasefire. Zachary and I ended 3 years ago, I said. Correct, Zachary echoed, a ghost of a smirk tugging at his lips as he glanced at Julian. But seeing you miserable sure brightens my day. My number hasn't changed, Lynn. I'm still here. A cold laugh slipped out of me. You're married with a toddler. Don't you think that line's a little late night infomercial? Why? We're still friends. Not anymore. I stood, calm as still water, and walked out of the cafe. The internet was right, an ex should stay as dead as disco. I'd been too polite, should have mailed his eulogy instead of coffee. Julian chased me onto the sidewalk. Lynn, we need to talk. We've talked ourselves into silence. He's your ex, I'm your ex, same label, same exit. Julian's anger boiled over. You're really doing this? No calls, no texts, you're serious about the breakup? What did you think, I was rehearsing for a rom-com? You can't let him go because he was your first. I was speechless. How many times would we replay this scratched record? Julian, he and I are ancient history. So are you and I. Need a highlight reel? You cheated, pre-wedding, with your underclassmen. Rings any bells? His eyes flickered with resentment and regret. One lousy mistake. Every guy slips. Why crucify me? 3 years together, I shrugged, doesn't outrank loyalty. One strike, Ellis. If I stayed, I'd wake up every morning wondering whose bed you'd warmed the night before, exactly like you scrutinize my past. Seeing I wouldn't bend, Julian hurled the lowest blow. No wonder he ditched you, so pig-headed. You already walked away from one altar. Want a second stamp in that passport? Lynn, who else would even want you? Yeah, I've slept with someone before you. You can't stomach it, yet you demand a free pass. Cute double standard. Name one man who wouldn't care. I studied the guy I once sworn to love and saw the truth in neon. I'd loved the wrong heart. I blocked him on every app and mailed his leftover hoodies to the Ashford estate. Should have done it the night I found those lipstick stains. Both sets of parents tried the customary chorus, old wisdom claims breaking a betrothal angers the gods. Mine listened to reason, they'd never mistake endurance for virtue. Julian's folks required stronger medicine, thank you, Misty, for the incriminating video, one tap, forward, silence delivered. I hadn't lost myself, I'd simply misplaced him. Life continued, brighter, actually. I threw myself into work, outran the shadow of heartbreak, and let late-night grind translate into numbers on spreadsheets. The campaign I nailed caught the board's eye. They offered the overseas rotation I'd turned down for wedding favors and future in-laws. Now nothing held me back. Visa, shots, Euro rail pass, passport stamped and ready. I hadn't heard Julian's name in weeks when the unknown caller flashed. A voice sugary as frosting purred in my ear, Misty, waving her victory flag. Rowan, Jules, and I are getting married. You simply must come. A cold laugh echoed inside my skull. Invitation? Try front row seat to her insecurity. I declined, polite as corporate small talk. She pressed. Oh my gosh, don't tell me you still can't get over him? Guess a girl who's been, what's the word, loose doesn't get second chances with Prince Charming. I know it hurts, but I want you there to witness our happiness. I hung up mid-sentence. In 72 hours I'd be airborne for Europe. Ex-boyfriend's wedding? I'd rather watch paint dry on another continent. The night before I left, Julian showed up at my door. He was dead drunk, all rumpled despair like a stray mutt, pounding on my apartment door over and over. It was late, afraid the neighbors would complain, I reluctantly let him in. Julian seized my hand and stared up at me, pitiful. Lynn, are we really over? I know I screwed up. The one I want for life has always been you, no one else, I swear. Julian, get a grip. You're getting married, and I'm not the bride. I don't want to marry her at all. Julian hung his head, broken, muttering, I don't want to marry her at all. Even though I tried not to follow news of him and Misty, our shared friends made that impossible. We'd been together 3 years. Besides, Misty loved to flaunt every syrupy detail on Instagram, forcing Julian to respond. So bits of their saga always reached me. Julian wanted a woman who belonged to him completely, yet he refused the responsibility. In his mind, babes still had to be capable, gorgeous, and from a matching pedigree. Bestie cackled down the line, guys fall for the fragile ingenue, but they don't stay in love with her. Julian must be blind. Misty doesn't hold a candle to you, so petty, skinny as a rail. And her family? The Ashfords would never approve. But Misty refused to quit. She barged into Julian's office. Bestie mimicked Misty's baby voice, Jules, I gave myself to you untouched, every last bit. You have to take responsibility. You're my first man, my only man. I'm clean, pure, I handed my most precious gift to you. Between snorts Bestie added, hello, 21st century? I almost laughed myself sick. I said quietly, Julian cares a lot about that. Oh, he cares all right, and now he's stuck. Word is he kept saying no, so the crafty little thing threatened to sue him unless he owned up. They say she still has the bedsheet from that night. Damn, kids these days play for keeps. Plus, she was already pregnant when she stormed the office. Gotta hand it to Julian, bullseye on the first try, real life on the line. I sighed at the mess. Bestie rattled on, the Ashfords couldn't stomach the scandal. Misty's parents and every aunt and uncle camped outside the estate until they caved. An old money family like that? Humiliated beyond belief. They finally gave in. Bestie wrapped it up, delighted, best soap opera ever. Looking at the boyish glow long gone from Julian's face, I felt a pang. He was paying the price for his obsession. I only wanted to own you completely. What's wrong with that? Nothing, so we really weren't meant for each other. Julian's bloodshot eyes brimmed. Lynn, you're so perfect, how could I? This is my punishment. My expression stayed calm. It felt as if our love and hate drama belonged to another lifetime. Go home. It's late, she'll worry. His phone had lit up over and over. Same caller every time. I don't want to marry her. Julian raked his hair in agony. That night was awful. I studied him with cool irony. He'd finally bagged his so-called pure girl. No delighted unwrapping, just a stinking curse. He gazed at me, desperate. If I hadn't touched her that night, would we still have a chance? I thought, then shook my head firmly. We would have broken up anyway. This obsession is yours. Even if you'd resisted, even if we'd married, the thorn would still be in your heart. Sooner or later it would fester and repeat. After all, the unreachable always haunts. Obsession isn't evil, I'm not judging your taste. But you should have told me at the start. Some people insist on matching white paper with white paper, fine. I respect quirks. They're no excuse for cheating in wounds. Julian stared straight at me. I was afraid if I said it, I'd lose you for good. Lynn, you're the finest woman I know, beautiful, graceful, driven, brilliant. I didn't want to lose you. But you lost me all the same. Calmly, I stood to see him out. Go home. We were finished long ago. Misty cares about you, don't hurt her again. Julian opened his mouth, but no words came. Head bowed, he shuffled away. After I moved abroad, I buried myself in work and focused on me. Off the clock, I enrolled in a class and spent weekends traveling around Europe. I loved the pace. Light, free, full. Julian and Zachary no longer crossed my mind, they felt like past lives. Only my gossip-happy bestie remained tireless, feeding me updates from home. She heard Julian and Misty had married. Heard Misty was so insecure she policed his every breath. Heard Julian snapped, hit her, and the baby was gone. Heard both families went nuclear, the Ashfords paid the Zus a fortune, and the marriage imploded. Heard Julian had also fled abroad, dumping the mess on his parents. Bestie worried, he won't come looking for you, will he? Even if he does, it's pointless. I gazed at the distant horizon. I never graze old pastures. Then I can relax. As I hung up, a shutter clicked. A sunny, good-looking Chinese guy lowered his camera, shy and flustered. Sorry, you're more stunning than the scenery. I couldn't help myself. He stepped closer and handed me the shot. Beautiful lady, May I know your name? I looked at him and smiled. I'm remarkable. I deserve love. The past is the past. The future is wide open. Thanks for listening to today's story. How would you rate it, 1 to 10? If you liked the video, tap like and share with friends. We can't wait to read your comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more tales. See you next time.